Okay. So, hello, everybody. This is Jason and Janet, and we're here to talk to you today about what's coming up on our radio shows this week, Titillating Tarot with Jason Livanis and Living Astrology. So we'll start with Jason, since your show's tomorrow. Tell us what's coming up.
Well, it is part deux of the 12th card of the major arcana called the Hanged Man. I will show you the card. This is
Let me switch to the right view. There we go. Nice.
Okay, you can see the whole card?
I can see the whole card.
So, this last week we discussed how energy-centered or chakra-ish or nerve-centered this particular very spiritual card is. As a matter of fact, you picked it as an identifier card. I mean, whenever I do lectures, Janet, in metaphysics, I very often say this because people have a glorified view of what it is to be spiritual. Fuck that. Here's the real deal. The real deal is that the path of a master metaphysician is never an easy one. And this card talks very much to that because, as we talked about in last week, there are six cut-off branches signifying the chakras. The one that he's hanging from is the seventh. So he's just beginning to awaken that. And when that happens, it brings with it certain gifts. It also demands that you sort of give over and that you know that you're an instrument of God. This coming week, I'm going to be discussing a little bit more about that, more about the symbology. But what I really wanted to do is, first of all, let me give you a caveat. I seem to be coming down. You may be able to hear it with something. So next week might be a repeat. I mean, tomorrow might be rather a repeat show, depending on which way this virus that I'm dealing with goes.
Right.
So that's the caveat. However, on April the 5th.
Can you believe it's almost April?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
No, I absolutely can't. That will be the 13th card.
Let me switch views. Oh, wow. That's a lot of flames.
It's Kali, and in the center, it's maybe hard to see, but there is a dove flying out of the mouth in the middle, really from the gut chakra there. That is going to be my first episode. Maybe I'll need two, but probably two, on the subject of death. I have a friend of mine I've had for 30 years. Her name is Rhea Morgan, and she has agreed to come on as a specialist in this field of death and grieving and loss. It's kind of actually how we met or bonded 30 years ago. I was around when her brother passed. And as a matter of fact, the ring that many of you see here that I kind of always wear was her brother's, who she saw transition into the next world during a very difficult epidemic in our time. So she is gangbusters. She is funny. She's beautiful. She's a member of the American Psychological Association. She is also an accredited licensed New York State mental health practitioner, and she has an MA in applied psychology from NYU. Could do worse. And she is a lovely, lovely individual. So while I talk about the card death, which might happen the week after, she's going to come on and we're going to teach some people how to address this very difficult topic of loss and grief. She, by the way, also is an individual adult practicing psychotherapist, couples counseling as well. So those are some of her hot spots. So we'll be talking about that on the 5th, death, grief, and loss, and all of that fun stuff. But we are definitely getting through the cards because we're already at card 13.
Dang.
You know? That's what's happening with me in the tarot world. Tell us all about it, Janet.
Well, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well today, and I hope that you're back on for tomorrow. If not, then we'll replay part 1 of the Hanged Man card. And then are you saying that next week we would jump to the Death card, or would we stay with the second part of the Hanged Man?
We would stay with the second part of the Hanged Man.
And put the Death out one more week.
This as a course, for all the people that have been listening, and everybody may not know that these episodes are downloaded or uploaded to the site. People can go back and watch them.
Absolutely.
Everybody that I know enjoyed our Bare Naked Ladies syndrome system. I really thought it was a hoot. I was happy to be naked with you.
Yeah, it was fun, wasn't it? I got out of my normal skin and into a new skin. But as you'll notice today, I'm fully clothed. It's a little chilly to be naked. And I think everybody's kind of caught on to the idea that Living Astrology is still a radio show, and that Naked Astrology Stripped Down with Janet Hickox is really just a segment within the show where we strip down astrology and we talk about it from the basics on up. And this week we continue. Like last week I was in Wisconsin having some thrilling, exciting adventures. And this week I'm back, and we're going to pick up where we left off in the history of astrology by talking about the gods and the planets and how that mythology from both Norse, Roman, and Greek got turned into astrology. And it's really kind of fascinating because I really love mythology. I really like that whole idea of stories and myths and how it became a part of our daily lives. But
we share that fascination.
Yeah, we do, because I mean, look at what you're doing. Tarot reading, same thing. The cards have a lot of symbology in them and are dealing with a lot of the concepts from mythology. And when we do deal with astrology, we're often, I guess one of the things that I hear often from people that are against astrology is that, what about, pardon me?
As if you need to be against astrology. I mean,
yeah, or people don't want to poo-poo it or think that it's not in any way justified or believable. And the argument that is often brought up about it is that, well, where's my free will? What's free will versus fate? So I hope to get into that facet of this tomorrow or Thursday on my radio show, because I think it's really fascinating, what some people think about free will and fate versus what astrology really is in terms of those two things. And that should take us to the end of that particular segment, where now we'll have the stage set and we can really begin to break down astrology into its components. We'll start looking at the signs, the houses, and the planets. So we started from the ground, and we're going to move up a little bit in subsequent weeks. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to share that facet of astrology. And of course, we always do readings on the show, so I hope you'll tune in 4 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday. And Jason's show, Titillating Tarot, is on at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. East Coast time, correct? Yeah. So thank you all for watching our promo videos. We hope to see you or hear from you on our shows, and have a stellar week.